Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Justice for Aaron Brady campaign. We have much to tell you about, and I suppose the most important thing that we must get across to you, the public, now at this moment in time, that everything we have said in the course of the 200 videos or 200 plus videos during the course of Aaron's campaign, all the information we have given you in relation to the theft of the car in Clotterhead, the murder scene and the burn site, everything has been proven to be correct. And our assertion that the truth is that there has been collusion, corruption, a completely narrated story created by the DPP and Garda Síochána to obtain a false conviction against Aaron. Now, in the last live video we done very quickly last week was to confirm that the information we had given in relation to some of the times in the storyboard created by the DPP, well, the times we said was possible, implausible and totally nonsensical were proven on Friday morning once again in the CCJ in Dublin. Now, just briefly going back over what we said in our previous video, the live video, I'm saying once again, Garrett Kenna and the DPP committed perjury and contempt of court when Garrett Kenna was asked had he ever done a time trial for these journeys that was on the storyboard, and he replied no, he had not. He had not authorised anyone else to do it, and he wasn't aware that anyone else had ever done it. So this is complete and total incompetence at best. But that is not what happened. Garda Kenna is not that incompetent. You cannot take information. You cannot take times and details and distances and not correlate them, check them and fact check them in the most extensive and in-depth investigation in the history of the Irish state. That is what you are told. That is what you were told. Garrett Kenna told the court. Brendan Grehan told the court. Mark Phillips told the court. Pat Murray told the court. The most extensive investigation in the history of the Irish state. And here we have a member of Garda Síochána telling the court, once he was put on, not under pressure, he was asked the question, did you ever time trial this information that you had correlated, put into a PowerPoint presentation and shown in evidence against Aaron Brady? Did you check any of the times? Was it possible? And Garrett Kenna answered no. Garrett Kenna, you are a liar. You committed perjury in the court in Dublin. And then we're going to move very quickly to what happened in the court. An expert, the gentleman's an engineer. He was a witness called by the defence for the two boys that's on trial at the moment. And he simply done time trials for the points in between each of the CCTV sites where CCTV footage was harvested. And I'm just going to pick on one or two of the points because you can see here, I'll just put up on screen slide, and this is the 90-kilometre journey that on the night that the Volkswagen Passat was stolen, that was alleged to have been used in the Northern robbery, and it was alleged that Aaron and suspect A were involved in stealing this Passat that was allegedly used in the Northern robbery. So there you can see it's a 90-kilometre journey, and it's missing the PowerPoint put forward by the DPP has 90 minutes of unaccounted for travel, and you can see here there are only 6 points. Those little triangles denote the areas where CCTV footage was harvested, and in those 6 points, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, those 6 points are the only places in the 90-kilometre journey that CCTV was harvested, which again, it is something that we have proven is incorrect, false, and the storyboard was so heavily edited to create a false narrative that again, as we say, led to Aaron's false and unjust conviction for the murder of Detective Garda Adrian Donoghue. So we're just going to look at one or two of these points. We will, over the course of time, I'll just bring up this slide, we'll break this journey down into just 3 sections. But we're just going to look very briefly this evening at section 1 there, which covers Ballymac Service Station, which is point 1, Monaster Boyce Inn, which is point 2, and Termafeckin Credit Union, which is point 3. So during the course of Friday's questioning of the defence witness, much time was spent in relation to the journey between Monaster Boyce Inn and Termafeckin Credit Union. And I'll just bring it up on the screen there, you can see it on Google Maps. And we have claimed throughout Aaron's campaign that this is impossible. And you can actually see there where I have said the DPP says the journey time was 6 minutes and 20 seconds. That's incorrect. The time is actually 6 minutes and 6 seconds. Now, the engineer who undertook this journey said it took him almost 10 minutes. And he said he was travelling along quite swiftly. And this brings us again to how deeply involved and entrenched Senior Prosecutor Brendan Grehan is in trying to sustain a false conviction against our son Aaron. When Mr. Grehan was cross-examining this witness, he suggested that he was out for a Sunday drive. On numerous occasions, he tried to insult this man as an engineer, when the engineer made it very clear that his passenger and co-worker, who was dealing with the satellite signal in the car, so the journey could be pinpointed from start to finish, the engineer explained the journey as quite a white-knuckle ride. Now, we have done it on numerous occasions at high speed, and we're saying again, it's impossible to do it in 6 minutes. So in the course of the cross-examination, Brendan Grehan actually introduced new evidence. He talked about a jet engine being fitted into suspect A's BMW. Complete and utter nonsense. And he tried to refute the facts of the weather conditions at that time. The engineer said he went back and had a look through the records in relation to the weather that night. And at the time those cars were allegedly travelling from Monaster Boyce to Termafeckin, it was at freezing point on wet roads. And it was a blatant attempt by Brendan Grehan to try and discredit a man who had done something. We've done it on numerous occasions. It cannot be done. Now, there's another point we want to get across here, and it has to be very firmly fixed. All the times were checked by An Garda Síochána when they were collecting the CCTV footage. And the times were checked on Tetra radios, on the speaking clock, and on mobile phones. And there was some sort of a suggestion, a preemptive strike in the court, I think on Wednesday or Thursday, by the prosecution to suggest in some way, shape or form that when the times were being taken and the CCTV footage was being harvested, that you could lose a minute with times and seconds being stripped off the time to be rounded off to a single minute. That did not happen. The CCTV footage at Termafeckin Credit Union, the footage time was correct at the time of harvesting. And the footage time at the Monaster Bice in was tamed to the hour, minute and second. So we cannot allow continued false narratives and false stories to be perpetrated by these people. And we did say this was the idea of Aaron's campaign, to create pressure, tell the truth, and it would force these people into telling more lies, which happened once again on Friday morning when the engineer was being cross-examined. We were told that there was some form of a jet engine installed in Suspect A's car, that the weather wasn't that bad, and Brendan Graham went as far as to try and say that, well, it could be a little bit milder along the coast between Termafeckin and Monaster Bice and along the east coast. Spouting information that was not tested or was not entered in evidence in the court. He was paddling profusely to try and create a false narrative. I seen it, I witnessed it, we all witnessed it in the court. And to speak of witnesses, for the first time, Owen Reynolds, Senior Investigative Reporter, Robin Schiller, Senior Investigative Reporter, sat directly in front of us. They listened to the evidence. They're investigative reporters. I'm sure one of them drives. Between the two of them, some of them has a car. All they had to do, tip down the M1 and test it. And write down the truth. It is impossible. The entry to the storyboard that Aaron and Suspect A drove from Ballymac service station to Monaster Bice. And in that journey, it took 19 minutes. So in a 5 Series 535 BMW, even without Mr. Graham's jet engine, that is ludicrous, because it can be done in anything from 15 to 17 minutes quite easily. And those 2 minutes that are extended in the storyboard, that is a 10% increase. It's over a 10% increase in the length of time that journey took, which is nonsense. So Brendan Graham wants us to believe that they were peddling the car like the Flintstones from Ballymac to Monaster Bice, fitted a jet engine at the Monaster Bice Inn and took off and got to Termafeckin Credit Union. Absolute nonsense. It cannot be allowed to happen again. And we will continue to show the evidence and the information we are giving you, the Irish public, is right and it is correct. And we will break this journey down into bite-sized pieces. I could go on to, I don't know where the jet engines went, Mr. Graham, when it took them 7 minutes to travel 1.5 kilometres. Where was the jet engines? When it took them 38 minutes to travel 3 kilometres. Where was the jet engines, Mr. Graham? But I just want to go back and reiterate what we covered in the live. Garda Garrett Kenna committed perjury. We're preparing the paperwork once again to send another request to GSOC to investigate perjury and tampering with evidence during the course of Aaron's trial. And it was confirmed last week in the CCJ in Dublin, in court number 11. We seen it, we witnessed it. And we witnessed Brendan Graham and Garrett Kenna continuing to perpetuate this story and paddle and try and save some sort of face in one of the most serious miscarriages of justice in the history of the Irish state. And we hope to bring you alive tomorrow from outside the court, because once again, the Justice for Aaron Brady campaign will be vindicated and proved 100% right again that evidence was tampered with. And either total incompetence by the DPP, Senior Counsel for Prosecution, Mr. Brendan Graham, Junior Counsel for Prosecution, Mr. Steen, who created along with Garrett Kenna, this information. I don't know whether Mr. Stain has a vehicle. It is as simple as that. This case breaks down as simple as taking a drive from Monaster by Sin to Termon Feckin Credit Union. And that will be the foundation for any person to build a case that the prosecution have created a false narrative to secure a conviction that is totally unsafe. It is false conviction of our son Aaron. So we hope to bring you the live video tomorrow from outside the CCJ, and we confirm that information in relation to phone data has been tampered with. And hopefully then this case will move into its final stages where the prosecution and the defence will give their final and closing statements. And we have a situation now that we didn't have in Aaron's trial. The prosecution don't have phone silence. This wonderful, exclusive, highly unusual phone silence. They have no nail there to hang their hat. They cannot hang their hat on the theft of the car in Clogherhead because their story is impossible. We will do further videos in relation to the burn site. As I've told you before, the story created by the prosecution is totally impossible. We have a man who's seen a car at 10:30. The car was on fire at 10 o'clock. How is that possible? And plus there is phone evidence and cell site analysis from this local area that will prove that suspect A was not anywhere near the burn site at the time of the actual sightings of the vehicle. So there's much more detail in all this. That's a broad view for you, the public. But all I can say is everything we have told you in the 200 videos is correct. Not one sentence can be contradicted by the 15 and now 16 weeks of a trial in Dublin, which will finish in the next 4 or 5 days. We're almost certain it'll finish. Not one sentence of our campaign has been proven incorrect in those 15 or 16 weeks. And we really now need you, the Irish public, to come on board and just share and like Aaron's videos. This story must be spread wide and far. And I will say once again, if anything we are saying is incorrect, we will fall on that sword. And as many of you, the Irish public who wish to do so, can do that drive. Drive from Annigassan to Castlebellingham and see will it take you 45 minutes. You'll do it in 4 minutes. This is ridiculous and it must stop. And we must keep the pressure on the authorities to do what is right and what is correct. So once again, thank you for joining us this evening. Please continue to like, comment and share. And we will be back with quite a lot of videos in the very near future. And we will have confirmation from the ongoing trial that the information we have given you during the course of Aaron's campaign, all the information is correct. And please continue to like, comment and share. Thank you, and we'll see you again in the next video. Take care.